This is a quick little discretion, but this game does not have an all ages version, so it's only 18 plus. I'm not responsible if you decide to play this game and you're not old enough to really do it. So again, this is just a discretion video. You're probably better off not even watching this video if you're not able to play the game. But anyways, hope you enjoy if you still stick around. Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, back with some, well, not back with something, but I don't know, maybe you could say that. But anyways, this is Pero Seduction. It's been a long time since I did a video about it. Now, I did have an issue with Nutaku a while back where my account got hacked and I ended up having to start a brand new account because they just said screw it and never tried to restore it. And that's the account I'm playing a lot of other games on, like Osawari Island, which I ended up restarting. I played Kamihime Project. There's like a few of them. But anyways, oh yeah, also Dragon Providence. But anyways, this right here, it's going to be a guide on how to do battles in Pero Seduction. Now, when I mean battles, there's like a few different ones. Because there's two events that are based off of battles, and this is the one I'm talking about, which is currently up. And this is the Pero Faction Wars. Now, there's also two other versions that use the same concept, which was Pero Shards. Well, it also had a popularity contest too, somewhere in the mix with Collusieum. But yeah, there's Pero Collusieum, Pero Shards, and then there are Pero Faction Wars. But anyways, they all use the same rock, paper, scissors concept when it comes to this, because you're going up against other players. Now, the screen you see right here, first off, you should notice that it says pick an opponent. And that's the main thing you need to focus on when it comes to this. Now, with picking an opponent, it's a little bit tricky because I have to build certain decks, and I'll get to that later. But the main thing is the fact that it's broken down between 4 types, and anybody playing this game should definitely know the 3 main types. The 4th one is a little bit niche. But there's Moe cards, which have a green circle and it says it on there. Babe cards, which are pink and says that on there. And then sexy cards, which has that on the card as well. Now, these are just 3 types, and it's pretty much rock, paper, scissors. Moe cards beat sexy cards beat babe cards, and babe cards beat Moe cards. So, that said, you're going to have to try and build a deck and go against the right opponents. Now, the end comes in based on if your deck doesn't have at least 3 of a main type. Because that's how you end up getting it anyways. Now, when it comes to building a deck, the thing with that is that you have to try and assemble cards of different types, or the same type. It's up to you, but it's best to use the ones with the highest seduction power you can get. I wouldn't even recommend trying this until you get at least 5 gold cards. And the reason for that is the fact that there's also ranks, and it's based on your total seduction power. It doesn't even matter the deck's how much power you got in the deck. It's just total seduction power. And each card has their own seduction value based on how strong it is, and even what type it can be, but it's a little bit discrepancy on that. I've seen Moe cards actually have more seduction than sexy cards, which is weird. But the main thing is that fact that you have to pretty much build decks based off of Moe, babe, or sexy cards. If you don't have at least 3 of one type, you're going to end up in the end section no matter how hard you try, which is neutral. That is the most dangerous section to even be in because it's so ridiculously random. What you need to do is try to build a deck that has at least 1 of each of those 3 types, Moe, babe, and sexy, but then get 2 more of the same type for one of those. So in my case, I have 3 Moe cards, a babe card, and a sexy card. You can still do it with 3 Moe, 2 babe, or 3 babe, 2 sexy. It doesn't matter. But I find the safest strategy to have at least one of each. Now, that said, once you do that, you can arrange them any way you like. Now, I tend to find out that when you arrange your cards from left to right, I tend to put my 3 main element right on the far right, the far left, and the center. Now, the ones in between, which take the 2nd and the 4th slots, I tend to put different cards there, because that's usually where people place trap cards. And when you start facing opponents, that's what you'll notice. Sometimes they'll have mixed stuff in there as well. But speaking of which, we can go over to the opponent's screen, which is right here. Now, when it comes to dealing with opponents, you have your 5 cards, and there's a helper card from your friends that's picked at random. That said, you can end up having 4 of one element, 5 of one element, 6 of one element. It doesn't matter. But the helper comes out usually if you lose a card and they're not up against something that can step and have an advantage against them. So, for instance, if I lose my first Moe card, the sexy card might come out to try and take out the card that went up against me. And chances are it will come out if it's not up against another Moe card. But when it comes to facing off against your opponents, you're trying to get the best out of 5. And when a helper comes out, it does not change the win cycle. It does sit up and affect who will win, though. So, for instance, I can attack somebody, their helper card comes out. Then, if their helper card beats me, my helper card might come out and come and try and beat their helper. But the end result is what matters. So, you might start off with your own cards, but still win with a helper. But that counts as one battle. They'll go through each battle, or you can hit the skip button to speed things up. And then the end result is this, where whoever has the most wins out of that gets the actual win. So if 5 of my cards win, then I get the win. If 3 of my cards win, I get the win. So you need at least 3. But that said, it's simple enough. It's still a rock, paper, scissors based concept for each one that attacks. So Moe cards is weak against Babe ones. So if you're up against a Babe person with Moe cards, that's kind of stupid. And so on and so forth. Now, the bigger card is actually your character icon. Like the card you set as your avatar. Now, in my case, I try to set one that matches what element I'm going for. As in, I have 3 Moe cards. I have a Moe card as an avatar. That way, it won't deter people if they try to come up against me. So I might still get some defensive wins. Because that said, it's easy pickings to try and get somebody like that, compared to having a Babe card and you're using the sexy deck. So yeah. But other thing you need to know is that, as you can see in this next picture, I'm in a fight against somebody else. You notice a green arrow going up. That shows who has the advantage, and the helper card already came out. So, and usually the helper cards don't come out like that, but who knows. But as you can see, there's also a rainbow card in there, and I'll get to that later on. But that's the whole thing. You want SR rarity cards, and they come in 2 different types. All cards come in 2 different types, if you really want to be honest. But as you can see, they called for help. I got the advantage, and I'm going to end up taking them out anyways because I'm up against a rank 5 opponent. Rank 5s are the weakest, and they're best to get your win streaks from. Like, that's the whole thing. You want to go up against rank 5 if you want to win streaks. Now, if you want points, it depends on how strong you are. Because if you cannot take on rank 1 or rank 2 opponents, you're better off just fighting rank 5. Because you get bonus points for beating each rank, but you only get 1 point if they're rank 3 or below. So you might as well just beat the easiest and call it a day. But if you can take on rank 2, do so. If you can take on rank 1, do so. But the higher the rank, the harder they are to fight. Keep that in mind. But speaking of the cards, here's all the cards that I have right here. That's pretty much lined up for my deck. As you can see, I set it up for the Moe on the far left and the far right with the center, of course, and then 2 random cards in there. Like I said, high seduction, go for that. That's simple. But you can even separate the tabs and make it easier to try and pick out which one. My best suggestion to you is to pretty much set the sorting thing to highest SED, which is seduction, and then go from there. Because you want the most attack powers you can get. There's no other reason to go anywhere else. Now, here's a question. How do you happen to get these cards? The best way to get them and even power them up is pretty much missions. But you can also try to get gacha tickets from events and whatnot. Now, the gachas are broken down into 3 separate things: normal, rare, and super rare. But when there's events, there's an event gacha, and sometimes there's even an item gacha, where you can probably get a couple of cards and some extra stuff. Item gacha, you typically got paid for. Event gacha, you can get event gacha tickets, but it's kind of hard to do so, and not all events offer them. Chances are you're going to end up buying those as well. But when it comes to the normal, the rare, and the super rare, you can still get those tickets from missions, events, stuff like that. You can always buy those too, but I would suggest only buying the normal gacha tickets, because you can use coins instead of actual money. So if you use the in-game coins for those, you're good to go. And my suggestion to you is to also sip and try and get as many of those as you can too, because other events tend to use them a lot as well. Well, the other battle event tends to use it a lot as well, but that's another story for another time. But you can also buy a lot of the in-gacha tickets, because they have a chance of giving you the rare and especially the super rare cards. So that's the best way to try and build those up. But anyways, the mission screen right here, as you notice, there's one mission that says 30 push-ups. There's one that says flirt with 3 girls. You can get, like, my suggestion to you is to target the coin ones first, so you can get a lot more coins. You can rack up quite a bit of coins in one day doing that. And the 30 push-ups is spending off your stamina, so you pretty much have to go in a storyline or something like that, burn off 30 stamina, come back and get the mission, then go back into there again for the next one, because there's multiple of each mission. Each mission has at least 3. I say at least 3 because the first one that's at the top, the flirting one, has 4. But it also should be noted that when it comes to getting these wild cards or whatever, they only go up to the rarity you get. So if you're hunting them down and you want to try and get like cards to build up your super rares, you're going to have to keep doing the missions until you start getting the SR wilds. And there's 3 types of those: SR Wild 1, SR Wild 3, and SR Wild 5. Those will work on any card, but the 3 and the 5 will jump them up at 3 levels or 5 levels respectively. So that's the thing to look out for. But again, focus on the missions with the coins. And the easiest one to do is the ones where it starts off saying pie in the face, I think. And that one, you just sit up and go to a friend and sip and hit them with the tease thing or whatever it is. It will sip and throw a pie at them, and you can send them a message or whatever. You don't even have to have a friend to do that one. You can just go on to any random player, because they suggest some down at the bottom, and you can do those. It's really easy to rack up coins that way, because you barely have to do anything. The others, you have to get lucky on a little slot thing or spend stamina, stuff like that. But the other mission thing, which is right here, the special mission tabs, this is the one where you want to try and get a crap ton of stuff. Because if you get your total seduction up, you'll start getting gacha tickets and stuff. You get cards of certain types, you'll start getting additional wild cards to build them up and everything. You're going to spend a lot of time trying to get these missions, because there's tons and tons of them. When you do one, you're probably going to find another. It took me well over 100 normal cards to finish that off. So yeah, the streak of normal cards kept giving me more and more stuff anyways. And like I said, you can buy normal gacha tickets. You should rack up normal cards very quickly. But that's the whole thing. Try to build those up. Try to get these missions cleared, and you'll rack up a lot of stuff to build up your characters quickly. Now, when it comes to building up the characters themselves, you have another deck screen where if you hit the My Girls list. And this shows all the cards in your inventory. You can sort it out however you like by rarity, by attributes, by level, whatever. Now, the deck here has nothing to do with the event that does the battle system. It does, however, show the five cards you want on your main screen, or whenever somebody goes to your actual friend page or whatever. Now, when you sit up and do this, pay very close attention to the one that's in the middle, because that's the one that's going to be your avatar. The other four are just stuff that you show off. So, say you want to sit up and actually try to lead people in to try and come against you. You want to put, like, say, you have a Babe deck, put a Babe card in that center. You want that one. Again, if it's a different card, they may not pick you. Smart players will catch on to that. But, as you can see, this shows off all the different cards. And when it comes to different card types, here's how we can sit and break them down. Now, you're going to see a lot of these pink ones. And these ones are Moe cards. I mean, not Moe. These are normal cards. Like you see, I have a Moe symbol right there. I said Moe because I was looking at that. But these pink cards, they're your end cards. They're the weakest ones, but you can get plenty of them. So this is why I said, like, if you're trying to get the Seduction mission, or if you're trying to work for another event I'll talk about later in like a different video, then yeah, you're going to get a lot of these end cards. You want to try and build them up. Now, I've only ever seen one of these, but there's a green one, and this is the elite version of the normal card. Now, this is an animated card, so it's got animations. If you pick a picture that doesn't have the little rip things, because you know as you level it up, it has, like, it looks like it has rips where it's trying to tear off into another picture. But these are animated, and these are much, much harder to get your hands on. I only gotten this one because they gave it out due to an error way back. I haven't seen another green one ever since. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. They might sell them. They might not. I don't know. But then there's these ones, which are silver. They're the R rarity. And, again, you'll see these a lot, too. Especially if you're doing the R gacha. Now, that one, it'll give you a better chance at getting an SR, but it's also, like, guaranteed R girls, period, point blank. But I tend to find these ones the hardest to level up, because I tend to get more SR stuff than R. So, I don't know. But these are, like, the middle ground. Again, don't worry about them too much unless you want to try to level them up or whatever. But these purple ones are elite versions of the R, which is just like the green cards for N, they're animated. So, any elite cards are animated. Keep that in mind. It's not too much different than that. It's just, okay, level them up, whatever. But they are animated compared to the other ones. Now, the ones that you probably will see the most when it comes to battling out, especially on higher ranked opponents too, because rank 1 is actually higher than rank 5. But anyways, when you start going up against higher rank opponents, you'll start seeing gold cards a lot more. These are the ones you want to aim for the most, because they have the most potential seduction power, and then on top of that too, is the simple fact that they are somewhat easy to level up, because you can get a lot of SR items. So, yeah, you tend to get, from personal experience, you tend to get a lot of normal items, then a lot of SR items, then the R ones. But anyways, when it comes to these cards, you want to try and get as many of these as you can. Like I said, try to get at least one of each type, if possible. I mean, they even hand you out one when you start the game, provided you use the card reveal for that gacha. So there you go. You can even re-roll if you want a different girl. But yeah, there's that. And again, highest potential seduction, so you want to do that. Now, these rainbow ones, they're the elite version of the SR. Same concept, except for these ones you tend to typically get from events. Same case with the purple ones, which is the Elite R, but the Elite SR are animated and you tend to get them from events. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to get really high rank in order to get one of these cards. So if you're trying to aim for one of these cards, you're going to need to put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and 9 times out of 10, a lot of money. Because this game is very pay to win at times. Like, it makes no sense. Now, with the current event, there's a faction thing. And if you sit up and pick the faction that's in the lead and sit up and get at least 100 faction points, then if you pick the one that's in the lead at the end of the event, you'll get an elite version of the SR card. But if you don't, then it's going to be an R version that's elite. You'll get an animated card either way, but it's the easiest way to try and get a rainbow if you pick the right faction, and unfortunately, I'm not going to let you know about that. But this type of battle also gives you a special type of booster, which you see at the bottom of the screen right now since I went back to this. Unlimited focus and double faction points. If you're trying to hit your 100 faction points easily, here you go. But unlimited focus is the main thing you want, because if you get that, I did get one in the streak rewards, but I also happened to just flat out got one for an hour. But this is the best one to try and get. And as it says, you get unlimited focus for a whole hour. And that lets you just ignore the whole focus bar, because it normally takes 2 focus to go up against an opponent, and it only fills up to 6. But unlimited focus, you can just go add them and add them and add them and add them. Now, I got the hour one, and it shot me from a 0 win streak, because I had just started it before trying to do this video. But it shot me from a 0 win streak to over 200, and I still had 15 minutes left. So if you can dedicate a full hour to this, you should have no problem with the streak rewards, provided you can take on rank 5 opponents. Because if you're just starting, you might not be able to. But if you do max out if you max out at least 5 gold cards, you're guaranteed. You're guaranteed. Just make sure that at least 3 of them are the same type. But that's an easy way to try and get streaks. It's an easy way to try and get bonus points or faction points too, if you really care about it. But unlimited focus is very good for knocking out the entire reward list and whatnot, so yeah, keep that in mind. Now, don't worry too much about faction points unless you're trying really hard to get your faction up. But the thing is that I honestly think they just sip and rig the whole thing anyways, because for some weird reason, every time I pick a faction, it's always the one behind. It was the same case in the popularity contest way back when they did those. It's like every time I picked it, I always got the one that was in last place. I don't know if it's rigged or not. But that's the whole thing with that. But the main thing is to try and battle out opponents that are most suited for your situation. Again, if you're going for streaks, fight the weakest opponents possible, the rank 5 ones. If you're going for points, try to take on rank 1. If you can't take them, take rank 2. But that's the best way to go about it. And way back when they had the Collusieum, the stronger the opponent, the more tickets you got for their special gacha. And yeah, that's where it came into play with that one too. But anyways, that's all I really have for this video. I got 2 more of these to really cover. 3 if the third one shows up, because I haven't seen an Automata event since the second one. But anyways, that's all for now, guys. Take care.